Well, welcome everybody. And YHWH is always faithful to give me a new song to his ancient truth. And today it's from Psalm 71. And I would encourage each one of you in your own time to even read the whole psalm. I captured just snippets of it. But really just that we're going to worship him amidst being oppressed by enemies, being sinned against, being, that we're going to just hope in him. This is who we trust, who we entrust our lives to, no matter what we're going through. And so I'll need you guys' help too. Once I get going here, I'll need some clapping. So Abba, Father, I just thank you for today. I thank you that we can come and we can gather in this home and that you're in the midst of us. We want to go deeper and higher places with you. We want to stand on the promises of your word as we sing these songs. And above all, we just want to know you more and understand your ways. So we just pray these things in your name through Yeshua. keep clapping. Sing to Yahweh a new song and bless his name. Sing to Yahweh all the earth from day to day. Say among all people, Yahweh reigns. Yahweh's salvation to proclaim from day to day. Sing to Yahweh a of your wings. And I can't play bass and sing that at the same time. But we just want to thank you for that. We want to thank you that you cover us, that we can rejoice in knowing that you are our security, you are our safety, you are our refuge. And that we can just taste and see with all our senses, with all our being, that you are told, because you cover us. You cover us with goodness. It's a beautiful picture of that cover, and it's almost a beautiful picture of even just the Feast of Tabernacles that we're winding up this week. It's like you cover us. You're that shelter for us. So we just want to magnify your name as we sing this song and just rejoice with joy. Exceedingly abundant joy because of the hope that we have in you.
hearts, we just pray this to you. For you
just trust you. And like 1 Samuel chapter 2 talks about Hannah's song, we know that you give and take away. We don't understand all this. You are all sovereign, and we worship you and just place you above all. My heart, my horn is exalted in Yahweh. I smile at my enemies because I rejoice in your Yeshua. No one is holy like Yahweh, and there is none beside you, Yahweh. Is there any rock like our Yah? The full need bread and the hungry are full. The barren had 70 with many is weak. The bones of the mighty are broken, and those who stumbled they have strength. Talk no more so very proudly. Let no arrogance come from your mouth. For Yah is the Elohim of knowledge. By him actions are weighed out. My heart rejoices in Yahweh. My horn is exalted in Yahweh. I smile at my enemies because I rejoice in your Yeshua. No one is holy like Yahweh, and there is none beside you, Yahweh. Nor is there any rock like our Yah. Yahweh kills and makes alive. He brings down to the grave and brings up. He makes poor and he makes rich. Yah brings low and he lifts up. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the beggar from the ash heap, to set them among the princes and make them inherit the throne of his glory. My heart rejoices in Yahweh. My horn is exalted in Yahweh. I smile at my enemies because I rejoice in your Yeshua. No one is holy like Yahweh, and there is none beside you, Yahweh. Nor is there any rock like our Yah. He will guard the feet of his saints, but the wicked shall be silent in darkness. For by strength no man shall prevail. Yah's adversaries shall be broken in pieces. From heaven he'll thunder against them. Yahweh will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed. My heart rejoices in Yahweh. My horn is exalted in Yahweh. I smile at my enemies because I rejoice in your Yeshua. No one is holy like Yahweh, when there is none beside you, Yahweh. Is there any rock like our Yah? Like our Yah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. And there is no other authority out there like you, Yah. Hallelujah. Continue to bless this time that we have together as we go deeper in your word. In your name, through Yeshua.
Good night, everyone. So before we move on, there was one little thing I'd like to bring to our attention here. When it says, nor is there any rock like our Yah, let's go back to the anointed one saying, build your foundation on the solid rock. The solid rock he's talking about is Yahuwah. He was speaking double talk. When somebody was talking that yesterday in a study I was listening to, it just popped into my head. I said, wow. But that's just a whole other discussion. So good night, everyone. Thank you for coming out. And I hope each of us had a wonderful day today. And that we are in a good mood to sit back, relax, and let the Holy Spirit minister to us tonight. So we are in Genesis chapter 16. And we are going to finish this in one swoop tonight. It's not a long chapter.
Okay.
So tonight's study is titled, Wait on Yahuwah, Be of Good Courage. So on we begin with Genesis chapter 16. So the first thing we're going to do is get into our, well, not news per se, but it's going to be relevant to what we are talking about tonight. So when conflict arises.
Conflict and relationships. Is there an expectation that good people would never devolve into conflict? Abraham, Sara, and Hagar are engulfed in a self-inflicted conflict which started off with good intentions. Interpersonal conflicts are unavoidable. Even the best of us cannot avoid conflict. Ask TeamD.
Yeah, Davene. Anyway, let's leave that alone.
Yeah. There are many circumstances that can lead to conflict in material relations. These would include dispute with finance, unloving acts, and in many instances, in brackets, no statistics, but a TeamD feeling, a third wheel. In many instances, unresolved conflicts end in divorce. In an article titled, Can a Marriage Thrive with Unresolved Conflict? By Terry Gaspard in the Huffington Post, it reads as follows. For most of my life, I've believed the myth that good marriages are relatively free of conflict. This misconception has caused me anguish on many occasions. It has also been shared by my clients as they complain about perpetual conflict in their marriage and consider divorce as an option to marital distress. According to author Marcia Naomi Berger, many couples believe that if a marriage is healthy, all issues get resolved. She writes, simply put, it is not the presence of conflict that stresses the relationship. It is the manner in which the couple responds. Positive, respectful communication about differences helps keep a marriage thriving. This view that many problems in a marriage can be managed is shared by relationship expert Dr. John Gottman, who advises us that couples can live with unsolvable differences about ongoing issues in their relationship as long as they aren't deal breakers. The situation with Abram, Sara, and Hagar is a little more complicated given the nuance of Eastern culture, but they were not immune from the consequences of the situation we are today. Today, this would end in the type of divorce described by Linda Esposito, writing for Psychology Today in her article, Marriages Come and Go, but High Conflict Divorce is Forever. As a psychotherapist specializing in high conflict divorce and co-parenting counseling, my job is to help parents resolve disputes and nurture their children's social and emotional growth. Research shows that the frequency and intensity of parent conflict, the style of conflict, its manner of resolution, and the presence of buffers to ameliorate, I don't know that word, the presence of high conflict are the most important predictors of child adjustment. I've outlined 4 problem areas below which contribute to relitigation and what to do instead. Conflict is unavoidable, if intentional or unintentional. It is the wisdom used in resolving the issue that makes the difference.
And we'll see how this conflict plays into our Bible study tonight. So, as the study is titled, Wait on Yahuwah, Be of Good Courage, we would be beginning with Psalm chapter 39 or 40, depending on which translation you're reading, from verse 1 to 17. For the end, a psalm of David. I waited patiently for the Lord, or I waited patiently for Yahuwah, and he attended unto me and hearkened to my supplication. And he brought me up out of a pit of misery, and from miry clay, and he set my feet on a rock, and ordered my goings aright. And he put a new song in my mouth, even a hymn to our Elohim. Many shall see it, and fear, and shall hope in Yahuwah. Blessed is the man whose hope is in the name of Yahuwah, and who has not regarded vanities and false frenzies. O Yahuwah my Elohim, thou hast multiplied thy wonderful works, and in thy thoughts there is none who shall be like to thee. I declare and spoke of them, they exceeded number. Sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me. Whole burnt offering and sacrifice for sin thou didst not require. Then I said, Behold, I come. In the volume of the book it is written concerning me. I desire to do thy will, O my Elohim, and thy law is in the midst of mine heart. I have preached righteousness in a great congregation. Lo, I will not refrain my lips. O Yahuwah, thou knowest my righteousness. I have not hid thy truth within my heart, and I have declared thy salvation. I have not hid thy mercy and thy truth from the great congregation. But thou, Yahuwah, remove not thy compassion far from me. Thy mercy and thy truth have helped me continually. For innumerable evils have compassed me. My transgressions have taken hold of me, and I could not see. They are multiplied more than the hairs of my head, and my heart has failed me. Be pleased, O Yahuwah, to deliver me. O Yahuwah, draw nigh to help me. Let those that seek my soul, to destroy it, be ashamed and confounded together. Let those that wish me evil be turned back and put to shame. Let those that say to me, Aha, aha, quickly receive shame for their reward. Let all those that seek thee, O Yahuwah, exalt and rejoice in thee. And let them that love thy salvation say continually, Yahuwah be magnified. But I am poor and needy, and Yahuwah take care of me. Thou art my helper and my defender. O my Elohim, delay not. Amen. So the theme here is to wait patiently. And this embodies what we are required to do and how it entails with the situation we are going to be discussing shortly. So the introduction.
Initially, this study was titled The Tail Wagging the Dog, because of the role and influence that Sara had in the situation with her husband Abram. The title was a bit bothersome because there is a cultural element that both parties would have been familiar with, and they consented to the act. Also, Sara was not overpowering or having undue influence over Abram, but more a situation of putting the cart before the horse. When Yahuwah gives his word, there is no time frame for it to be accomplished. He would execute his promises in its season for his purpose, hence the title of this study and the reading of Psalm 39 or 40 from the Septuagint. Let us all be of good courage as we wait patiently for his salvation and for his will and for his timing.
So we are in Genesis 16, verses 1 to 3.
Which one do you want me to read from? Doesn't matter. Now Sarah, the wife of Abram, bore him no children, and she had an Egyptian maid, whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said to Abram, Behold, Yahuwah has restrained me from bearing. Go therefore in to my maid, so that I may get children for myself through her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarah. So Sarah, the wife of Abram, having taken Hagar, the Egyptian her handmaid, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, gave her to Abram her husband as a wife to him.
So you see the setup here already. All parties consented. That doesn't mean to say it's going to end well. The need for a child, and that's an heir. In our prior studies, it was mentioned about Yahuwah Elohim opening and closing the womb of the women associated with the patriarchs. Sara had no children, and Abram would have told her about the promisage which included an heir. Sara getting ahead of Yahuwah and Abram co-signing the request, took Hagar, Sarah's Egyptian maidservant, and she conceived.
In ancient culture, ancient Eastern culture, conceiving children is as important as the air that we breathe. The two great imperatives in the ancient world were to get married and to have children. There were two reasons why having a family was considered so necessary. With no Medicare, senior residences, or pension plan, people throughout the ancient world relied on their adult children to look after them in old age. Perhaps the ancient Egyptian euphemism for an eldest son, the staff of old age, says it all. While most people died of injury or sickness long before they had a chance to grow old, many did live long enough to have to rely on others to care for them. Without at least one son to assist them, the aged were in serious trouble. The second reason was the need in all pre-industrial societies for an increase in population. More people meant more workers. More workers meant greater wealth and a better chance of preventing conquest by aggressive neighbors.
So this is just an insight into that mindset back in the day. The need to have, heirs in order to inherit you and to be a support to you. So continuing, a similar situation but different circumstance repeats itself with Jacob, and we'll eventually get to that. Sara was now in her old age, so too Abram. And with the life expectancy diminishing, childbearing age is also decreasing. It is known that at a certain age, a woman can no longer produce eggs, whereas a healthy, in quotes, and that's very important, a healthy man can produce seed into his old age up to death. Abram was 75 years when he heeded the call to leave his father's house, and Sarah would be about the same age or slightly younger. Both Abram and Sarah are now in the land consistently for 10 years, which puts Abram's age at 85. This is 10 years after hearing the voice of YHWH Elohim, intermittently most likely, and promises being made. In the typical fashion, let us help Elohim with his work. They took matters into their own hand. What can possibly come out of this? So we are in verse 4 to 6.
And he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarah said to Abram, My wrong be upon you. I have given my maid into your bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. YHWH judge between me and you. But Abram said to Sarah, Behold, your maid is in your hand. Do to her as it pleases you. And when Sarah dealt harshly with her, she fled from her face.
So this section is called the other rival. Wife or concubine, Hagar is now a rival in the tent of Abram to Sarah. Hagar conceiving and having a potential heir to Abram may have made her, in quotes, sashay, around Sarah a bit too much. Having an heir to a well-established man is a big thing, as well as the ability to issue offspring. Also, being a maidservant and pregnant with Abram's child is a bolster to this woman's ego.
Here we have a transplant of the garden with Here we have a transplant of the garden with Adam and Eve occurring with Abram and Sarah in Abram's tent. Sarah, conceiving a plan ahead of YHWH Elohim, created discord in their house. Her statement to Abram is not to be dismissed. She held Abraham accountable for the situation, and he owned up to it, not throwing accusations back at her, by reminding his wife that it was her plan to begin with. There are a few additional things happening here.
So that situation with the garden, 3 parties involved, a plan being concocted by one, and then the rest is history. So that's more or less the similarities. It's a little deeper, but I don't want to go too deep into it right now. So,
Go ahead.
Abram never elevated Hagar above Sarah in his tent. He very likely may not have loved Hagar the way he loved his Sarah. Abram and Sarah thought it was expedient for them to produce an heir because of impatience on waiting on YHWH Elohim.
Sarah's actions toward Hagar may not have been right. Sarah may have built up resentment in her heart, which resulted in her actions toward the handmaid.
So verses 7 to 9.
And an angel of YHWH found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain on the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, whence camest thou? And whither wilt you go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarah. And the angel of Yahweh said to her, "Return to your mistress and submit yourself to her hands."
Taking flight. This brings us to the meaning of the handmaiden's name. Hagar, which means flight. She took flight in order to escape the circumstances of an ill-conceived plan. Hagar is not innocent in the situation either. Understanding the sensitivities of the situation, she could have conducted herself differently. Yahweh Elohim sent one of his angels to Hagar. Who or what is an angel? The Hebrew word for angel is malak, and it means a messenger. Depending on the context, it can be an earthly messenger, a heavenly sent messenger, or the angel of Yahuwah. And we read that in the psalm that we opened with at the beginning of the study.
Taking flight. The angel of Yahuwah is one of the many agents that Yahuwah Elohim uses to establish his will. In the situation with Hagar, this is not that agent for one simple fact.
The messenger is introduced with the indefinite article an.
I'm just seeing massager up there. I sent an edit for that, and you didn't change it.
I changed it.
No, you did. You must have You must have redone the one, the same one. Sorry,
Well,
that's a bit distracting to me.
Well, at least it's a massager angel.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So Hagar will get a good massager along with us with a good speech talking to. So she gets a double portion today.
Okay.
But it's messenger.
We'll fix that for later. And an angel of the Lord.
Okay, so reiterating what we were saying, this messenger is introduced with the indefinite article an, and I just restated it both in the Masoretic and in the Septuagint. It says, and an angel of the Lord. This can be any angel or malak sent on this mission to intercept Hagar, who has taken flight from Abram's tent. After the introduction of this angel or malak, the narrative switches to the definite article the, because that person is now the subject of the situation. So that is to specify who is speaking to Hagar at that moment. The specific angel of Yahuwah is mentioned in Scripture. So Psalm 34:7.
The angel of Yahuwah will encamp round about those who fear him and will deliver them. We sang that today.
Right, yeah. So this is specific, the angel. So it's pointing to a specific messenger that does specific acts, and we'll see one of them. So this is in 2 Samuel 24:16.
And the angel of Yahuwah stretched out his hand against Jerusalem to destroy it. And Yahuwah repented of the evil and said to the angel that destroyed the people, "It is enough now. Withhold thine hand." And the angel of Yahuwah was by the threshing floor of Orna the Jebusite.
Now this situation was when David ill-conceived to number the people, and the Hasatan stirred up David. So that's the end result of what King David did with that census.
And it's an interesting little study with this when we eventually get to that years down the road. But when you compare another account of this, was it the adversary or was it Yahuwah that stirred him up to do that? So it's hard to understand some of these things, but that God would stir him up to do that. So that he could avenge or go after Israel for their wickedness.
Next is Exodus 23:20. And behold, I send my angel before thy face, that he may keep thee in the way, that he may bring thee into the land which I have prepared for thee. Take heed to thyself, and hearken to him, and disobey him not, for he will not give way to thee, for my name is on him. So that specific angel could be that angel that was sent before Israel when they came out of Egypt and were on their trek in the wilderness.
And the book of Malachi means?
My messenger. And I have a sinking suspicion that this same angel is the messenger being spoken about in the scroll of Malachi. just by the way how it's worded, my messenger. And Malachi is a very interesting book of prophecy that everybody should take some time out to read, because there are many things in that scroll that is yet to be fulfilled.
Yep.
And it will be fulfilled by that specific angel. So Genesis 16:10-12.
And the angel of Yahweh said to her, I will multiply your seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of Yahweh said to her, Behold, you are with child, and you shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because Yahweh has heard your affliction. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren.
Now, what I did with the Septuagint translation, when I was checking the words in the Hebrew, the Septuagint translation is actually word for word of what is written in the Hebrew, whereas they added extra information in the Masoretic translation. I found that very interesting. Oh, going back. As you can see here, it says, a wild man, we'll talk about that. His hand against all, and the hands of all against him. Now, the question that was running through my mind, could this all represent? Is it every aspect of creation that's going to be at Ishmael's seed, and every one of them going to be against him? And that is just based on how it is stated here. But there could be more going on to this sentence than meets the eye. So the multiplication of Hagar's seed.
The angel of Yahweh is having a conversation with Hagar, the runaway. The angel tells Hagar that he would multiply her seed. Is the angel speaking on behalf of Yahweh or with some authority acting on his own behalf? The typical view is that God is taking the form of an angel, which we would call a theophany solution. Theophany, from ancient Greek, meaning appearance of authority or God, is the appearance of a deity to a human. This term has been used to refer to appearances of the gods in the ancient Greek and Near Eastern religions. While the Iliad is the earliest source for descriptions of theophanies in the classical tradition era, and they occur throughout Greek mythology, probably the earliest description of the theophany is the Epic of Gilgamesh. The term theophany has acquired a specific usage for Christians and Jews with respect to the Bible. It refers to the manifestation of the Abrahamic God to people, the sensible sign by which his presence is revealed. Only a small number of theophanies are found in the Hebrew Bible, also known as the Old Testament.
So that's just a little backdrop on what theophany is, and we'll see something about that a little further. So what does Genesis 16:10 mean as it relates to theophany with Hagar's seed? The angel of the Lord found Hagar at a spring along the road, possibly on her way back to her homeland in Egypt. She was fleeing from the harsh mistreatment by her mistress Sarai, and she was pregnant with Abram's first child, and that's in Genesis 16. Sarai's abuse came in response to Hagar's contempt for Sarai, which itself was caused by Hagar immediately conceiving a child for Abram. When Sarai had been barren for decades. Sorry, that wasn't read right. So in other words, contempt came in as a result of pregnancy. I am pregnant, you are not, look at me, and everything else that goes with it. Abram allows Sarah to assert her ownership over Hagar, and as a result, Hagar runs away. After telling Hagar to return to and submit to Sarai, the angel of the Lord now makes a familiar promise to the slave girl. It's familiar because it's the same promise Yahuwah had made to Abram himself multiple times over the last few chapters. Specifically, that he, this angel of the Lord, will multiply Hagar's offspring so that they become uncountable. Of course, only the Yahuwah himself could likely make such a promise. This is a primary example. Most scholars presume this angel of Yahweh, or Yahuwah, to be a theophany, the Lord himself in a physical form. All the same, this child is not the promised heir of Abram, and he will not inherit the blessings which Elohim has guaranteed for Abram's descendants. In the following verses, this promise is followed by a prophecy explaining that the future is not entirely good news for Hagar and her unborn son Ishmael.
What does Genesis 16:10 mean? All the same, this child is not the promised heir for Abram, and he will not inherit the blessings which God has guaranteed for Abram's descendants. In the following verses, this promise is followed by a prophecy explaining that the future is not entirely good news for Hagar and her unborn son Ishmael.
So this is one view in terms of theophany and what's going to be the outcome for Ishmael in generations to come. So this is one view, and we're going to look at another view. So Hagar and Ishmael by Whitney Hopler, and this was updated early up this year.
The Bible and Torah record two separate accounts in the book of Genesis of how an enslaved woman named Hagar meets the angel of YHWH as she is wandering through a desert feeling hopeless. The angel, who is Elohim himself appearing in angelic form, provides the hope and help that Hagar needs both times. And the second time, the angel of YHWH also helps Hagar's son Ishmael. The book of Genesis records that Hagar encounters the angel of YHWH twice, once in chapter 16 and once in chapter 21. The first time Hagar runs away from Abraham and Sarah's household because of Sarah's cruel mistreatment of her. Sparked by jealousy over the fact that Hagar had been able to conceive a child with Abraham, but Sarah, then known as Sarai, hadn't. Ironically, it was Sarah's idea for Abraham to resort to sleeping with Hagar, their enslaved maid, rather than trust God to provide the son he'd promised they would eventually conceive.
So there are a few issues with theophany, and it's quite simple. One, Yahweh Elohim is lowering his authority to appear in the form of an angel or malak to connect with Hagar. He could have done the same with her as he did with Abram. Yahweh Elohim nature does not change. What does it mean that Elohim is immutable? How can we understand that Elohim's nature is unchanging since every other created thing change? So we're going to look at what immutability means. Imagine that I'm on a couch and I want to mute the sound of my TV, but there are no batteries in the remote control. It is impossible for me to mute the TV sound with a remote control that has no batteries. That gives us an idea. Although it is a poor example of how it's impossible to mute Elohim's purpose. We are human, and to try and mute what Elohim says in his word or to thwart the divine will or plans and purpose of Elohim is a task that is destined to fail. Just as no human can prevent the sun from rising, no human effort can stop what Elohim has planned or is doing at present. Elohim is immutable, and that is what the word of Elohim says, as we shall later read about. Elohim changes not. Elohim has no need to change, for he is complete and perfect in himself, and has no need of anything. The conventional name that the covenantal name that he gave to Moses to tell the people of Israel just who Elohim was is this: I am that I am, or I am the self-existing one. So in other words, in that passage, he does not change. He does not have to lower himself to execute his will. When King Solomon dedicated the temple, he made statements about Yahuwah Elohim.
But will Elohim indeed dwell with men upon the earth? If the heaven and heaven of heavens will not suffice thee, how much less even this house which I have built to your name?
So what King Solomon is saying here is the house can't contain him. Heavens can't contain him. So then he would put himself in the form of an angel and dwell among us? Doesn't make sense. So this is from 1 Kings 8:27. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's from Koran. So I used the two translations just for compare and contrast.
Yahuwah Elohim does not have to change his nature in order to execute his will. The angel or malak is instructing Hagar and informs her that Yahuwah has heard her affliction. Hence, this angel malak giving the unborn child the name Ishmael, God will hear. The question is whether this angel malak has or had the authority to state to Hagar that he would multiply her seed? Or better yet, is this angel Malak acting outside the will of Yahuwah Elohim? Let us keep in mind that the seed of promise comes first in succession. Also, Ishmael's seed is of the lineage of Abraham, and Ishmael's seed would fold into the promise Yahuwah Elohim made to Abram. Additionally, she is told that her son shall be a wild man. The word used to describe his wildness is pere.
Yep, period. And
Okay.
also, interestingly, they use the word Adam as well in that description. So sometimes they could have used Ish as for man, but they specifically use Adam in that statement to describe Ishmael.
Which is a wild donkey. Pere is a wild donkey. It is not easy to tame or control a wild donkey. Hence, Ishmael's seed is going to be at odds with everyone. The stage has been set for him.
So that wildness, some people assume it has to do with those who follow the religion of Islam out there in that Eastern culture, and those are his seed that is at odds with everybody. That's the typically held view. So Genesis 16:13 to 16.
And she called the name of Yahuwah that spoke to her, Thou Elohim seest me. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that sees me? Therefore the well was called Be'er Lahai Roi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bore Abraham a son, and Abram called his son's name, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram.
So recall this section: the name, the well, and the son. A lot is happening with Hagar at this moment. For starters, an angel of Yahuwah appears to her and not Yahuwah Elohim himself. There is an order of things in Yahuwah Elohim's kingdom. Because Yahuwah Elohim was building a relationship with Abram, he spoke directly with him, just as in the same manner Yahuwah Elohim spoke with Moses.
And all the people saw the pillar of the cloud standing by the door of the tabernacle. And all the people stood and worshipped every one at the door of his tent. And Yahuwah spoke to Moses face to face, as if one should speak to his friend. And he retired into the camp. But his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not forth from the tabernacle.
And then there's the situation with Miriam and Aaron when they started to rebel against Moses. And they were told directly, I speak to Moses face to face, he's my friend. To everybody else, I'll speak to them in dreams and in riddles.
Hagar did not have this relationship, and she ran away from the tent of Abram. Further, she was carrying the son of Abram in her womb, which encapsulates that child into the promise made to Abram about his seed. Therefore, the angel of Yahuwah appearing and talking with her was with the sanctioning of Yahuwah Elohim himself. As an Egyptian, Hagar would have been familiar with the gods of that realm. Recognizing who she was speaking with, like that was otherworldly, would not have been uncommon to attribute a name to an entity. Hence her saying, Thou art Elohim who sees me. For she said, For I have openly seen him that appeared to me.
And she called his name El Rohi. So in other words, the reason why I use the word otherworldly, because of where she comes from. So most likely she would have been familiar with those entities interacting with her. So maybe she may have made that same connection as well. But being in Abraham's house, she should have had a little more common sense, which I believe she recognized and used the name El Rohi.
She can just have, from her culture, they had multiple gods and things. So this was quite normal, the supernatural realm for them, and to deal with that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, so she called him El Rohi, the El, or the God who sees. So hence the name. The well bears the name Be'er Lahai Roi as a memorial of the event that occurred at that location. Hagar heeded the voice of the angel of Yahuwah and returned to the tent of Abram. She gave birth, and the name that the angel of Yahuwah had spoken to her is bestowed upon him. Abram is now 86 years, which puts him and his household in the land 11 years.
So question, are we going to take any more time to understand the character of that angel of Yahuwah? Like, because obviously that's part of
I thi-
the Most High's counsel.
well,
and such.
when we get to Sodom and Gomorrah, I think that would be a very good place to discuss it more with the other angels that came into the picture at that time.
Because that one is very distinct.
Yes.
It's got a very distinct role.
So this is a psalm in closing. And this is Psalm 26 or 27, verses 1 to 14.
A psalm of David before he was anointed. Yahuwah is my light and my Savior. Whom shall I fear? Yahuwah is the defender of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When evildoers draw nigh against me to eat up my flesh, my persecutors and my enemies, they fainted and fell. Though an army should set itself in array against me, my heart shall not be afraid. Though war should rise up against me, in this I am confident. One thing have I asked of Yahuwah, this will I earnestly seek, that I should dwell in the house of Yahuwah all the days of my life, that I should behold the fair beauty of Yahuwah and survey his temple. For in the day of my afflictions he hid me in his tabernacle. He sheltered me in the secret of his tabernacle. He set me up on a rock. And now, behold, he has lifted up mine head over mine enemies. I went round and offered in his tabernacle the sacrifice of joy. I will sing, even sing psalms to Yahuwah. Hear, O Yahuwah, my voice which I have uttered aloud. Pity me and hearken to me. My heart said to you, I have diligently sought your face. Your face, O Yahuwah, I will seek. Turn not your face away from me. Turn not you away from your servant in anger. Be thou my helper. Forsake me not, and O Elohim, my Savior, overlook me not. For my father and my mother have forsaken me, but Yahuwah has taken me to myself. Teach me, O Yahuwah, in your way, and guide me in a right path because of my enemies. Deliver me not over to the desire of them that afflict me, for unjust witnesses have risen up against me, and injustice has lied within herself. I believe that I shall see the goodness, the tov, of Yahuwah in the land of the living. Wait on Yahuwah. Be of good courage, and let your heart be strengthened. Yes, wait on Yahuwah.
So this encouragement is not just for the situation Abram was in. It's for all of us. It's lessons to learn. Sometimes things are promised to us from him. And yes, there is an urgency. But at the same time, when he does what he does best, it's going to work itself out for our good in that time.
In his right timing, his perfect will, and we don't need to help him.
We don't need to help him.
No.
And as we saw with Abram and Sara helping him, it ended up with conflict, and it also ended up with a child that would become a problem. Their generations would become a problem.
It's good to note, too, how God still used it for his purpose and for his will. Like that whole thing, he still made that fit. And I think that's a good picture for us, too. I know we do mess up and we do strive sometimes. And even just in our pasts and such. But thanks be to the Most High that he's bestowed grace, because he can use all of those things for good in the future. He can turn it around. Right?
So, questions, comments on waiting on Yahuwah?
Anything?
Oh, I just think I agree. Wait on him.
Beautifully said.
I thought it was all really interesting.
Nice. Yes, very interesting.
Yes, there was many paths I could have taken, but I wanted to keep it as simple and compact as possible. But there are many other things going on in this passage as well, especially with that angel of the Lord that's interacting with Hagar. Well, thank you all again, and
may we all, Abba, just trust you for your perfect timing and to wait patiently, even when things aren't happening as fast as we would like or the way that we would like. You know best. So we just trust you for that in your name, Yahuwah. Amen.